The Action 4 just enabled low light image enhancement because I'm just walking through a load of trees at the moment. But I'm not going to go into low light settings in this video. What I want to say is that if you're completely confused as to whether or not you should use D-Log-M or the normal color profile when shooting with your Action 4, let me try and simplify it for you and say that you don't actually need to shoot in D-Log-M. If you're shooting in auto exposure, there's one setting that you'll need to tweak from time to time depending on your lighting situation and also your color profile, and that's the EV meter. I find that when you shoot in D-Log-M, you can pretty much get away with having your EV meter reading at 0. But what you have to do with the normal color profile when you're shooting is set your EV meter to less than 0, because it does kind of tend to overexpose the footage, and so your highlights will be a little bit blown out. But then in situations where you've got maybe like a high contrast situation, or if it's overcast, your footage can actually look a little bit washed out. So I do feel that if you're shooting in the normal color profile, it's going to be better for you to set your EV meter to something like -0.3 or -0.7. And as you can see, when you walk into the shade, it still does a good job of keeping the exposure quite balanced and light, so it doesn't look too dark. I'm currently at -0.3 EV, and I think the footage looks fine. When it's an overcast day or you stand in the shade like I did in that clip just now, you'd probably be able to go down to -0.7 when shooting in normal, as I still think the footage looks a bit faded, but you can also always add a bit of a boost to the tones in post after. One of the things I will say though is whether you're shooting in D-Log-M or the normal colour profile, you don't want to have the sun behind you, because that's not going to give you the best quality in the footage. So if you look at the sky behind me, it looks kind of washed out, whereas if I turn around this way, I look better lit, and then also the sky behind me looks nice and blue. So wherever possible, it's kind of contrary to what you would normally think when, if you were using a mirrorless camera for example, you can shoot backlit and you can get some really nice looking footage. But with action cameras, because they have small sensors and they need a lot of light, it's always better to shoot with the sun facing you, or just maybe turn to the side and have the sun coming at you from the side, maybe at a 45-degree angle, and you can get some really interesting shadows on your face, so you can have nice contrast. But this tends to not look so good as if you were to just be like this instead. And that also goes for if you're shooting in the normal color profile as well. It looks okay, you've still got really good dynamic range. If you look behind me, you can kind of see that the sky's blue, but if I turn this way and then I turn this way, then you've got better colors. The sky looks nice and blue behind me, and the dynamic range just looks better, and it doesn't look so washed out. The footage doesn't look so washed out. I'd also say that that goes for the environment as well. So even if you're not necessarily filming yourself, but you're wanting to film the environment, you want to make sure that the sun is blasting the environment, because that's going to give you the highest quality image. Whereas if the sun is behind the environment that you're filming, then again, you're going to get that kind of washed out, maybe possibly grainy footage. But obviously it's not always going to be possible to film with the sun blasting your environment. So you just kind of have to figure out what shots are going to be the best, and there might be a trade-off with the quality, but it's not going to look exceptionally bad. It's just not going to look as good as if it was lit very well with the sun. If you have a little bit more freedom as to when you can go out and shoot, as in you can be more flexible with the time of day, and you know the area, or you know where the sun is going to be at any given point during that day, it's well worth planning your trip to the location when you know the lighting is actually going to be in your favour, given how and where you want to shoot. Otherwise, you might want to find a different spot in the same location when the sun's a little bit more favourable. So the biggest benefit of D-Log-M is the fact that you can colour grade your footage, and if that's something that you're into, then you can't really do it with a normal colour profile. You could apply a little bit of a colour grade, but you're not going to have as much flexibility and the best quality footage as if you were to shoot in D-Log-M, because you've got that kind of raw, it's not raw footage, but it's like having raw footage, whereas the normal colour profile processes your image, so it does the best that it can to give you the best quality image without you having to do anything to it. And so that's why if you want to have more flexibility and actually get the look that you want, then shooting in D-Log-M is going to be the best way to do that. And that's why a lot of professionals tend to shoot in a log color profile. So one of the things I forgot to mention, even though this isn't related to shooting in D-Log-M or the normal colour profile, is whether you shoot in the wide or the standard field of view. And this is really going to be down to personal preference. I personally don't like the look that the wide field of view gives if I'm shooting in an environment where there's a lot of buildings around me, because it tends to warp straight lines. And so at the moment I'm shooting in the wide field of view just to give you an idea, and I'm walking around this church, so you might be able to see in the corners, or at the edges of the screen rather, that the lines are they look bowed. And so for me, when I'm walking around and I'm vlogging, I tend to have the field of view set to standard D-warp, because yeah, I just feel like it looks better. But again, like I said, that really does come down to personal preference, and if it's something that is going to bother you, or if it's oh, this is a nice little place, or if it's something that you're willing to just overlook. So yeah, whether you film in the normal colour profile or D-Log-M, it's really going to depend on you, and if you want to colour correct and colour grade your footage, or if you just want to get footage that looks great as soon as it comes out of the camera without having to do anything to it. One thing that I did forget to mention though, if you shoot in normal and you find that your footage does look a little bit washed out, I've created a free boost alert that you can download, and when you put that over your footage, it just lifts the tones a little bit. It just makes it not look so faded and washed out. So that's something that you can apply really quickly and just dial it in as much as you need to at any given time. So that link is in the description. I hope you found this video useful all the same. Do give the video a like if you did, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. There's a chess set over there. I have no idea how to play chess, but whenever I see ones like this just out, I always wish that I did, just so that I could come and play outdoors. Are they heavy? Oh no, they're not heavy. That is one of my goals in life, is to learn to play chess. So if anyone plays chess and you have any tips on how to start, or any resources that are good for learning how to start to play chess, then feel free to share them in the comments.